This is a podcast about our lived experience, which unfortunately includes infant death and subsequent mental health struggles. Please take good care of yourself and only listen if this content feels safe for you right now. We'll still be here when you're ready.
Hi, I'm Judith.
And I'm Alina. We both lost babies to SIDS in winter 2021.
In the throes of grief, I reached out to a stranger on the internet and our friendship was born.
In the years since, we've been working hard to survive, rebuild, and navigate the continual challenges that have come our way, including divorce,
Job loss,
dating while bereaved,
moving multiple times,
health scares,
pregnancy and parenting a living child,
starting new jobs, and so much more.
We are tired.
Happily ever after is out of the question for us, but this podcast documents our journeys to happier ever after because we believe life after loss is worth living.
So join us as we laugh, cry until we laugh.
Welcome to As Long as I'm Living podcast.
We're so glad you're here.
Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. We're doing something a little different on As Long as I'm Living podcast this week. This is a day in the life. We recorded all of our phone calls for a whole day, and I spliced together this chaotic set of conversations for you. I'm guessing some people will love this and some people won't like it so much, but this was a kind of fun one to make and a fun one to edit. This is a day where we talked probably more than average. The couple of days after this, we hardly talked at all. We were really busy, and it's just been a difficult week for me. And when I'm in a difficult week, I kind of hibernate. So this is an above average talking day. Enjoy our rambles and just pure chaos.
Judith.
Hi. Don't you have your thing now?
I do, but did you call me to leave me a message? I do, but she hasn't called me yet. I'm supposed to have my IVF follow-up.
Oh, no, I just want to talk to you about a bunch of things.
Oh, well, she's supposed to call me at 11:30, but she hasn't yet, so I'm trying not to panic.
Well, doctors always run late. Are you recording? Aren't you supposed to be recording?
I am recording.
Okay, I'm in the car. The doctors are always late. I've never seen a doctor on time. Never.
Okay. So you're not worried,
No.
because I also don't see it in the portal, but it's a phone call, not a monitoring appointment, so I think it makes sense that it wouldn't be in the portal, but I'm also a little bit worried that I missed it, and it's in the wrong, or I just got confused, and I don't know.
Okay, well, if you don't hear from her by 11:45, call the office.
Okay.
But literally every doctor I've ever seen is always late. Virtual or in person, it doesn't matter. They're always late.
You're right.
Always late.
You're right.
Okay, well, I'm on my way to get my makeup done at Sephora because I think I came out of a rock recently and realized that everything is different. The styles are different. I'm doing my makeup wrong. I just feel old and matronly. So this is what I'm doing.
Okay. Are you going to buy a bunch of fun stuff at Sephora?
I don't know. I'm still sad. I'm having a sad day, and I feel like I'm just going to end up sad with a pretty face. Just sad, you know?
Well, sometimes doing a
That's
pampering
my
thing
normal-
like that can help.
What?
Pampering like that can help sometimes when you feel really sad.
I've been told that. That's why I'm doing it. So.
Oh, hang on. I have to go. My doctor's calling. I gotta go.
Bye.
This is Judith. I'm not available to speak right now. But if you leave your name, your number, and a short message, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.
Hi, I need to give you an update on the IVF stuff. Call me back.
Hi, my battery's at 3%, and I just spent $140 on makeup. But you know what?
But do you look
it's
beautiful?
the first time I've spent $140 on makeup in like 7 years.
Do you feel beautiful?
I feel like this fits my lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Good.
Like I look like a normal human, and that feels good.
Good. I love that for you.
Okay, what did the doctor say?
Okay,
I told my diet any minute.
Okay, so first of all, she's not concerned.
I told you.
She said there's obviously some things that are mildly that did not go great. She 100% agrees the cycle was bad, but she said that she feels like it was a fluky cycle. There was a lot of weird shit going on. The drugs were whatever. We were working around the wedding. There was a lot. She does not think that my response to this cycle, she does not think that the outcome of this cycle is what my outcome will be typically. And so we have a plan for another cycle that will start at the end of August. So I'm going to do something called luteal estrogen priming or something.
Okay, and so she thinks that the problem was what?
So what happened, she said exactly what I saw, which is that there were a ton of follicles. Like I had like 15 follicles that were in various stages of maturity at the time of the retrieval, and only 5 were in the right stage. So we have to do the drugs differently so that they are all in the same cohort. So one of the things to do for that is the luteal estrogen priming. So in my luteal phase of my next cycle, I'm gonna be taking estrogen. And then the other thing is we're going to start with with higher doses of stims and back off in the hopes that all of the eggs that are ready to start maturing mature faster at the beginning, and then we can always back off if it's too much. So we're changing some things. Then the other thing is we're also going to initiate creating of a new genetic probe after my insurance switches on the 1st. So we have 2 concurrent plans of action. So one is a cycle on the existing probe, end of August, and the second plan happening at the same time is I forgot what I was saying, the new probe. Yeah.
Okay, and how do you feel after getting, like, how do you feel?
I feel better. I mean, there's a part of me that just feels like I'm the crazy one, that I feel like there's something wrong. Because, like, nobody else seems to think there's anything wrong. But it's just like I have a lot of evidence that there's something wrong. I am going to try to retain my judgment. What's the word? Is that the word?
Withhold.
I'm going to try to withhold judgment until after a second cycle. She's like, after the next cycle, if you get a similar response, then we'll know you have an egg quality issue and we'll do something about it. But like at this point, she's like, I don't think you have an egg quality issue. I think it was just a weird fluky cycle with a lot going on, and nothing was exactly the way we wanted it, timing wise and drug wise, and it just, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I definitely feel better after talking to her, but I don't feel like great.
I mean, what she says it's a fluky cycle. Why? Because the drugs didn't come on time and you're using old drugs because you didn't start after you had a period.
They started me on the most super generic protocol. So there was that. It's likely that if I didn't have the wedding, we probably would have triggered a day earlier. So I would have triggered on the wedding and had the retrieval on Monday. She said, looking at the numbers, it was like a 50-50 whether we should go another till Sunday or do it on Saturday. And they didn't want me to have to do that at the wedding. So we went with Sunday.
How many eggs were ready the day before?
I don't remember. But I mean, looking at the results of the monitoring, it's clear there's like a cohort of like 7 or 8 that were ready to go on the Friday before the wedding. And then there was like 7 or 8 right behind. So what they did, which was a totally valid thing to do, is they increased my stims and said, let's try to get those lagging ones up, right? And what wound up happening is the ones that they got on Sunday, exactly. So when we actually did the retrieval, almost none of the eggs were in the optimal spot. And she also said that is likely a reason for the poor fertilization rate. Not necessarily, but that is a possible explanation for the poor fertilization rate, is that none of the eggs were optimal where they want to see them. Some of them were over mature, overripe, and some of them were underripe. Oh, and the other reason why it was a weird cycle was I was supposed to do a dual trigger, a Lupron HCG trigger, but because my insurance they didn't send me the Lupron, so I had to switch at the last minute to an HCG only trigger, which would not have been her preference for me given my levels and whatever. It was not preferred. That is not what they would have wanted me to do.
Okay. Listen, I have no doubt that I don't think that this has to do with your fertility. I agree with the doctor. I think this is more like a protocol thing than a fertility thing. That's just my hunch. Because, I mean, 15 eggs is very, like if your body's making 15 eggs, it seems reasonable to me. But I don't know.
Hang on, I gotta go because Tyler's like trying to deal with getting a deposit for our house. Oh, by the way, listeners, we bought a house. Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Okay. Are we good? Can I start talking?
Yes, you can talk.
Okay, so remember a couple weeks, I don't know why anyone would want to listen to this, but I'll just give you an update. Remember a couple weeks ago when I was telling you about that conversation I had with the manager, the boss lady?
At a store?
No, at my company.
Oh, you're a manager. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then remember I asked you last night, I was like, oh, we had that uncomfortable conversation. Am I supposed to pretend it didn't happen today? Like, we're just, like, moving on, you know?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, that's what you're going to do. Okay, well, let me tell you why I do like my company. Because we've all been in therapy. And I get there today, and I thought, I was, like, ready to talk about, like, my work portfolio. Like, I didn't think we were talking about the conversation. She's like, Judith, I'm worried that last week landed in the wrong way. And I've been reflecting on the conversation. And
I've been reflecting.
I'm worried that she's like, I'm worried that the real issue is that I didn't give you clarity, and I really want to give you clarity and make sure that, you know, I apologize for the way it went down. And
Aw, so how does that feel?
I know, and she literally spent an hour, like, she wanted to, like, piece apart everything I was feeling.
Okay, for the record, I would hate this, but I feel like you needed somebody who was gonna actually talk about it, so I'm glad that she brought it up.
I do. I was nervous because I actually wasn't prepared for it. So I said to her, like, I felt like, I did feel confused. I was like, I'm stretching myself, and I'm not sure why. I need to make sure there's a path for growth here. If there's a path for growth, then I want to stretch myself and continue. If there's no path for growth, then I don't know if this is the right fit, you know?
Yeah. What'd she say to that?
She was like, our company is young. It's only 3 years old. And she's like, to be honest, you're the first person, and because of the structure of the company, you're the first person that's ever really asked. So, like,
Judith, you were just so ambitious they don't know what to do with you.
She was like, I said, and she's like, no one, we haven't really dealt with this before. And I said to her, I was like, in our last conversation, you basically told me that the only path to growth is years of experience. And I was like, I can't, what am I going to do? Like, just sit there and wait for me to turn, like, 37 because that's how old the youngest person is? She's like, that doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to know what you need from me to make sure there's path for growth. So basically the way we ended it is she assured me that they're working on a path for growth, and she asked for me this way. She asked me, she was like, what would growth look like for you? Like, what do you value? And I was like, I don't care if you call me, you know, like
the title doesn't matter.
I said, what I care about is money. I was like, I need to know that I'm paid. That reflects my work. That matters to me. And then I said, that's first. And second of all, I need to be doing, like, interesting work and, like, being able to get increased responsibility on that work. And then third, I care about the growth of the company, and I, like, would like to take internal responsibility. But, like, I told her, I was like, number one is money. Fourth, I said, and fourth is title. Like, I don't care what my title is.
I know. Some people get so worked up about their title. It's like, who gives a shit?
Give
me money. No, not at all. To the point that I'm kind of embarrassed about my job title because every time I say it, I feel like I sound really pretentious, but I don't give a shit about it at all. But that just happens to be what my title is. I'm the senior director of program management, and I'm like, it pains me to say senior director. Like, I just want to say director.
You always tell me. You've told me before that you're, like, on the senior team, and I always laugh because
I know, because I'm such a mess. I'm a disaster.
But
I'm so functional at work. Like, I'm so functional at work.
You.
Okay, listen to this. I had to come back to work today after my honeymoon. And everyone's like, how's everything? And I was like, oh, you know, the wedding went great. I did have to have an unexpected surgery. Because, like, I don't want people to be, like, thinking I'm, like, fresh off vacation when actually I'm fresh off of 5 days of recovery from an egg retrieval and an emotionally taxing event. And also, Judith, I just got back from the vet and my cat has a heart murmur. Like, as if I don't have enough shit going on. Like, my cat has a probably benign, but we don't know yet, and he has to go for an echo, a heart murmur. Like his mother.
Like mother, like cat. By the way, a couple people reached out to me, Alina, today to tell me how sorry they are for the poor outcome on your embryo transfer.
Did they really?
Retrieval. Yeah, which I thought was really cute.
That's so
they were like,
cute.
oh, that was, I'm so sorry that it was so
well,
bad.
as I was like putting the
so
episode together, I was like, oh my god, if I were listening to this, like the hope in our voices in the beginning and just like the juxtaposition to the end, like that is actually how it felt, like in real life. Like you listen to that episode and it's just like, hope, and you're like, I'm gonna hold on to hope for you. And it's like the transition music, and then it's like, well,
That did not go
It didn't go
well. I don't
well.
think anyone was expecting that.
Also, I forgot to even tell you about this. There's been all this stress with the house. We have all of this stupid down payment money sitting in an account that this is the stupidest thing I'm about to tell you, okay? The system that the seller's agent uses to hold escrow funds uses a particular tool called Plaid. And Plaid doesn't allow you to sync with the bank where we've been holding our liquid funds for a down payment. So we've been jumping through hoops for the last business day and a half, trying to get these funds somehow from our literally liquid bank account, tens of thousands of dollars. We're just trying to transfer somewhere. And it's been such a pain in the butt because the selling agent has the system that they always use and it works with everybody else's bank, but it doesn't work with our bank. Meanwhile, our bank is Vanguard. It's not like it's some podunk bank. It's a regular bank. And it hasn't been working. And we got to the point today where we were our attorney was like, they can back out and keep your earnest money. And we were like, what? So we had to do this whole thing and sign a whole thing, but it's all fine now. But now we're still waiting for the deposit money to get transferred. So that's been going on too. And that's what that's what Tyler's been dealing with. And I've been dealing with feeling like shit from the egg retrieval. And married life isn't all it's cracked up to be. I adore him. He's a peach and it's not a problem with him, but just life actually is what the problem is. And we're doing all of these things all at once and I'm tired. I'm very weary.
My husband always says about doing things at once. He feels like he really needs to master one before he can get to the next.
Someone's overlapping.
Yeah.
He really feels that way. He's like you can't. He feels like you can't do two big things at once. He really.
Yeah. Well, he would not like my life.
No, he would not. To be completely honest.
Do you want to say hi to Judith on the podcast?
Hi, Judith on the podcast.
Hi, Tyler. Alina, did you know Tyler and I have been texting this week? I don't know.
You have? Are you talking about me?
Nope.
No, we've been talking about. I was gonna say all sorts of things, but really not all sorts of things. We have been talking about you because when you weren't answering, I check on you because he answers his phone.
Yeah, he does. I mean, I typically do, but not when I'm not doing great.
I know, but I was.
Also, how many hours of the day was I asleep last week? 14 hours of the day.
You answered 0 of my calls. And another thing that Tyler and I have been talking about is, at first we didn't know the numbers.
Yeah.
So Tyler was giving me updates of the egg counts. How are you feeling about everything else going on?
Oh, completely overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed and exhausted, and I do feel like I have a plan.
Yeah.
What I need to do is set all this down. We need to get this stupid fucking deposit into the right account, and then involuntary. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Involuntary.
How do you feel about doctor? Because I feel like I'm so skeptical about the doctor being it's wonky. I feel like there's something weird about that.
I trust her.
She sounded I definitely trust her. I feel good that, because I also feel like there were a lot of things that were wonky about this cycle.
Okay.
There were. We would have done monitoring on the wedding day, but we didn't. We probably would have done the trigger on the wedding day, but we didn't.
Probably would have had less stress.
The trigger was supposed to be a dual trigger, Lupron and HCG, and it wasn't because they didn't send it. So those are 3 things right there that would have potentially demonstrably affected the outcome.
These things are so fickle. You know what I mean? It's so delicate.
Yes.
It's so delicate.
Yes. I mean, I asked her, Tyler was there, I asked her directly. I was knowing that it took me 12 months to get pregnant the first time, and knowing that this was the outcome of an IVF egg retrieval, are you concerned that I have an egg quality issue? And she said,
they said no.
And she said, the 2 pieces of evidence we have don't indicate to me that you necessarily have an egg quality issue. She said, we will know more. And I do think she'll sound the alarm. If this happens again a second time, that'll be a different situation than right now. But she definitely seems to think it can be a one-off and you can have a weird cycle. We didn't do the stims right.
It really sounded like she was this was odd. She's even I was expecting a really good result.
And the thing she said that was, I think, comforting was she was your body's response the whole time was what we were expecting. It's just the timing was weird of all of the stuff, and we just didn't get the eggs at the right time, which is a fixable problem.
Yeah.
I had lots of follicles. And she said, the other thing she said too is even if I do have an egg quality issue,
we should still be able to get significantly more eggs next time because I was developing so many more eggs than what were retrieved. So she definitely feels like the retrieving only 5 is a very solvable problem.
I said this at the beginning of it all, is that it seems like, and this confirms it for me, it's an art, not a science.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just left my drill in the panty liner aisle.
You left a drill in the panty liner aisle?
I know.
That was such a non sequitur, like, I'm speechless.
That's gotta go on the podcast.
I really did just see that.
I think that needs to be the title of this episode because that's gonna really just highlight the kind of shit we're subjecting our listeners to this week.
Oh my god. I did, but I got the drill. Do you feel like we tempted fate? Like the universe was saying don't do it and we didn't listen?
Judith, I have thought that so many times. Even though I'm not the type of person who like gets caught up in that, I have absolutely thought that.
Wait, give me 1 second. I want to have this conversation, but I need to press the right button or else it's going to keep yelling at me. So just give me 1 minute, okay? 1 minute. I'm going to call you right back. We're back.
Okay, we'll see. All right, we'll see.
And by the way, I'm about to enter an elevator, so this call might drop, which would just be perfect.
I don't know why anyone would want to listen to this. I don't know.
I don't have any, like, maternal attachment toward this embryo that we have. Like, I feel like it has bad juju. Like,
yeah, I almost feel like you don't like it.
This bitch is, like, not my kid. Like, I just don't like this embryo. And maybe I'll feel differently if it comes out, like, they're perfectly normal and they have no gene. But, like, I just have bad vibes from this whole cycle.
I feel like
is that a horrible thing to say?
I will tell our daughter, if that's actually our daughter, that your mom said this bitch ain't my kid.
But you know what, Alina? I actually agree with you.
Yeah.
And I feel like I just don't feel your daughter would do that. Even though it's an embryo.
She would never do that to me. And also, I'm not going to lie, I feel like this embryo is going to die. I don't think it's a strong one. It doesn't have good juju.
It doesn't have good juju.
And listen, I'll be happy if I'm wrong. I'll be thrilled if I'm wrong. There's probably people out there, like, listening to this who, like, been struggling with IVF forever, hearing me talk about this embryo with, like, such disdain. But, like, I just don't get good vibes from her. I don't know what gender is.
I think that there are people who've gone through, like, multiple treatments, and I bet they're saying, like, I thought that everything went wrong, and that was the one that stuck it through. The one thing that you could say is this kid really wanted to stick it through, because
that's true. All of the other embryos died.
This is a really persistent bugger. I'm like, maybe this is exactly what you need.
Maybe this embryo is going to be the president.
I doubt it. Wait, I just heard this thing today on TikTok where Barack Obama went on a date with his wife, and they went to, like, a restaurant out of town, and after the dinner, the waiter was like, oh, the chef really wants to meet you. You know, can Michelle, can you come? He really wants to meet Michelle. Michelle, can you come introduce yourself? And it turns out that the owner of the restaurant was Michelle's old boyfriend. Oh! And then Barack Obama said, Michelle, like, imagine your life could have turned out so much different, you know? If you ended up marrying that guy, you could have been the wife of this restaurant owner. And then Michelle's like, no, Barack, his life would have turned out different, because if you marry me, he'd be the president of the United States.
I love that attitude.
I did too. I like that too.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wait, Tyler, let the cats out. We left the cats in the bag. Let the cats out of the bag. All right, bye.
Bye.
To all of our wonderful new friends, we want to hear from you. Email us at aslongasimlivingpodcast@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at aslongasimlivingpodcast. We'll get back to you as soon as our grieving brains allow.
Yay!